Being the youngest among the presenters, I have good news for you. Please. And the good news is that my predecessors, they are younger than me, or they are younger than me. They have loaded you with a heavy amount of information. I think that is enough for you to go home. Please clap for yourselves. So with all those heavy load of beautiful and great information, who am I? Who am I to add more? So I will just lighten your load. I will lighten your load by giving you a few information here and there. And then we shall call it a day. Please clap for yourself again. I have 2 messages to give you. 2 messages. Please note my messages. These are the messages you will take home for parents. They will say, what did you learn in school today? You say, from that very young man, this is what I learned. 1, there is nothing about life that is permanent. Have you written it down? Have you written it down? Don't be looking at my face only. There is nothing permanent about life. The only thing that is permanent is change. The only thing that is permanent about life is change. That is why, as a person, you must learn to change. The second lesson, the second take home from my talk today is that life is always in motion. Life is always on the move. Life is not stationary. Why am I telling you these 2 take home? These 2 take away. 1, the only thing that is permanent in life is change. The second is life is constantly on the move. Life is in motion. It is largely because of this topic, which I have been given today, about identify the generational gaps from my generation to the present. I said I will not bother you with details. As I have been introduced by the lady, I was a professor of history, and I brought also many students I taught. So what I'll be telling you this afternoon is telling you the story of generational changes. Generational changes from the past to the present. Am I making it clear? Changes from time immemorial to the present day. I have 7 generations, which I will tell you. I have 7 generations, which I will unload to you. Each generation has a takeaway. Each generation has a contribution. Each generation gave you something. As they move from one generation to another generation, there is a contribution that one generation has made. Are you getting my story? And so, let me go to the first generation. The first generation was between 1901 and 1927. That generation is called the greatest generation. As you can see in the date, 1901 to 1927, one critical thing that happened at that time was the First World War. The First World War brought hardship. It brought economic hardship and put so many problems on parents. And they put a lot of pressure on parents, had to work hard, very hard. But they were determined to survive. They worked hard, but they were determined to survive. So children who were born at that time learned to work very hard and determined to live and survive. The second generation, which is between 1928 and 1945, 17 years, is called the silent generation. The first one is the greatest generation. The second one is called the silent generation. Or they call it the builders generation. Builders. This generation went through what we call the Great Depression. They went through the Great Depression when the economy collapsed. People were not eating well. During this period, during this era, kids were expected to earn their way. Kids were expected to earn their way through life. But they were taught very good lesson. Again, work ethic. They were taught to learn how to work hard. During this period of hardship, children were expected to be seen and not heard. Children were supposed to be seen and not heard. The third generation is called the baby boomer, the baby boomers. I hope you understand what I'm saying. The baby boomers. This period was between 1946 and 1964. (1946) to 1964, 18 years. There was a very large increase in population. But there was also an improvement in the economy. And major political and social changes took place. But this was the beginning of the technological advancement in the whole world. This period was remarkable because of its technological advancement. So this was a departure, a dramatic departure from the past. Everything had been very hard, things have been very terrible, but after the Second World War, we begin to witness dramatic technological advancement. Television became the dominant form of media. Television, TV, became the dominant form of media communication. For the first time, we have television, a way of communicating. And for the first time, we had the coming of the internet. And computers were introduced. So, the whole world became very aware of one another. With television, with internet, there was a great awareness in the whole world of one country and the other, of what is happening in one place and what is happening in the other. So we can immediately conclude from what I'm saying that this period of the baby boom was always the period of change, dramatic change, a departure from the past. The fourth generation is called Generation X. Generation X. From 1965 to 1980, a period of 50 years. I told you that every generation had something to contribute. Didn't I say so? Am I not telling you what they are contributing? One after the other. This generation began with economic uncertainty. But technology continued. Technological change continued. You cannot hold it back. You can't hold the technology back. This was the first time people tried to go to the moon. Is that not technology? People began to go to the moon. Divorce rates went up. Divorce rates. A lot of people, a lot of parents were working. So children came home and were left alone. Are you hearing my story? People were working, parents were working, and so when children came back home, they were left alone. They didn't meet their parents. What is the importance of being left alone? Self-reliance. Children began to be self-reliant. So being left alone is not an advantage. It's an advantage. Children now began to depend upon themselves. They became more independent. Self-reliance and independence. And they began to do things in their own. They became adaptable. They were doing things by themselves. But this was the period where you had personal computer games. Personal computer games were introduced. Because they had computer games, children were overprotected. They were over-pampered. I hope you get my language. Being over-pampered, being over-taken care of. They had everything to themselves. Generation 5. They call it millennial generation. Millennial generation. Or Generation Y. And that was between 1981 to 1996. $15 This generation has been massively influenced by the media. More and more of the internet, daily lives were influenced by the internet. And the communities were covered with, were influenced by mobile phones. Mobile phones became the order of the day. So internet connection shaped education. Internet connection affected education. What is happening in America, you can get to know it here in Nigeria without waste of time. This was the period when Facebook, Instagram transformed the world. This was the time when Facebook, Instagram transformed the minds of people. The sixth generation, Generation Z, 1997 to the year 210. Generation Z, 2000, from 1997 to 2010, 13 years. Children grew up from birth to childhood with digital technology. Children grew up from birth to childhood with digital technology. Smartphones became very common. There was transition from analog to digital. It was no longer talk and chalk. You know, most teachers will use chalk. We use chalk to teach, right on the board. But that was a thing of the past. It was no longer writing alone. Transition from analog to digital. Smartphone and touchscreen devices. Touchphone and touchscreen devices. I'm telling you the contribution of this period. Touchscreen devices, online learning, we are going side by side with the traditional learning. Internet content creation. Internet content creation. And online marketing. And online marketing became the order of the day. Get cell phones and smartphones became more common. But the generation were very interested in politics and social affairs. The final generation, Generation 7, is called Generation Alpha A, Generation Alpha. From 2011 to 2024, Generation Alpha, years 2011 to 2024, 13 years. This is the era of smartphones natives. Smartphone natives. I hope you get the terminology. Smartphone natives. This generation of children have problem reading. They don't want to read because they have phones. And they have very short attention span.
You will try and summarize.
Yes. So, in summary, if you go home today, You will tell your people that the world has experienced dramatic technological change. From using hand in the past to using smartphones in the present. All these technological advances have come with problems. They've come with problems to parents. How much of this do parents know? It has become a lot of problems to even students who know them, and they can use it to their advantage against their parents, against themselves. So, technological advances have come with challenges. They've come with challenges. You see people on the road looking at their phone even when there is traffic. Some people are getting knocked down because they are so much attached to telephone. People don't want to read. During our time, we were reading encyclopedia. Who bothers now about encyclopedia? So you can see how the world has been changed. But as you have seen in the last generation, attention of people are very, very small. People don't pay attention because their mind is always on the next goal, So these advances, technological advances, have brought problems to the teachers themselves. How many of the teachers are up to date with those advances? That is why I salute the earlier presenters. I salute you because you are breaking down how those technological advances are impacting society and how society can adjust. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I told you I was not going to overload you. Did I keep to my promise? Am I a promise keeper?